Okay, just to preface, I did pop a blood vessel in my eye, so it looks a little bit weird, a little bit scary. So I apologize if it bothers you, but I wanted to get this video out, so we're just gonna keep on rolling. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, then welcome. My name's Christina, and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. So before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave any comments that you have for me down below. I am all smiles today because it has been a week since I filmed because of my silly little eye, and also because Makeup by Mario came out with brand new concealer formulations, and I am so excited for this. So we're going to be demoing the concealers, doing a first impression. I'm going to do a mini wear test because it is a little bit later in the day, and I'm going to give you all of my final thoughts at the end of this and let you know if I think it's worth picking up or if it's not. So let's get started. I have the shade 14-0 in the foundation, and I just kind of went on their little graphic on what concealer shades they do recommend, but I also kind of looked at it and figured I was one of these two, if not both of them. This foundation comes in 22 shades. It's $29. You can get it right now on Sephora's website and Makeup by Mario's website. This is a pro performance multi-use concealer that visibly lifts, blurs, and brightens your under eyes and complexion for an awakened appearance. The coverage is a medium coverage and the finish is natural. So I got the shade 320, which is described as a medium peach shade, and also the shade 280, which is again a medium peach shade. I don't typically wear peach, or actually let me rephrase that. I don't typically assume that I'm a peach undertone. I'm almost always neutral, but there are those odd occasions where I do have a peach or olive undertone, just depending on how that makeup line is structured. This is the shade 280, and then 320. Okay, maybe 320 is the way to go here. Both of them look incredibly warm. So it does seem like for the most part they do use the concealer in conjunction with the foundation, so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to go ahead and apply the foundation and then we'll go in with the concealer. I did pull out almost all of the Makeup by Mario products that I have for this video because whenever I do videos like these, I like to kind of keep them in the same brand family if I can. I'm going to go ahead and pump some of the foundation onto my hand. Like I said, I do have the shade 14-0, and then I also have this Makeup by Mario dual-ended brush. I don't remember the number, but it's the dual-ended complexion brush. Now, as you can see, this foundation is definitely a shade darker than my skin, but it is blending into my neck a lot better than if I were to get a foundation that matches my actual face. If you guys don't already know, I love this foundation. I think it's beautiful. It lasts and wears all day. It looks just like skin. It makes your face look so naturally dewy and glowy, and it doesn't look like you're wearing foundation at all when you wear this. I am a big fan of this. If you haven't seen my video on this foundation, I do have a full review on it. I feel like a lot of brands right now are coming out with concealers all at once, which is so interesting. How does that work? Like, how do brands determine when they're going to come out with what type of product? Like, do they all kind of talk about it? I went ahead and just did one good layer, and you can still definitely see all of my hyperpigmentation, my acne scarring, my dark circles, and everything. Let's try 320 first and see what this looks like on the skin before we go in with 280. This applicator is very, very thin. Like, you can feel how thin it is. Ooh, hopefully that's not too much. And I did buy the concealer brush, but I didn't buy it in the same order. I actually just ordered it today. So for now, we're going to be using my BK Beauty Angie A506 brush for concealer. This is my go-to concealer brush. This one and the Rare Beauty one I really, really love to blend out my concealers. This to me seems a little bit more peach than I would want on myself. So I don't know if this is my best match, but I don't think it looks terrible. You know, it does look terrible is my eye. I put it on my actual eyelid too. Should we just put 280 on the face just to see it? Maybe we should. In case we are foundation twins, like shade twins. Maybe this will help you. Let's do it right here on the cheek. Oh, okay, hold on. Before I say anything, let's blend it out first. Oh, that actually looks way lighter on the skin than it looked on the swatch. Okay, maybe I was just thrown off by the undertone of it, how warm it looked, but on the face, once it's on top of the foundation here, it's looking a lot lighter. Should we blend 320 with it? Let's do that. Look at that color difference. Here's 320 and here's 280, and they're both a peach shade. I don't know, guys. I'm really bad at color matching. I am the worst at color matching. I always need help with it. That actually worked really well. And I'm just going in with a tapping motion to get this concealer really stamped in there, you know? Oh, that actually looks really good. Okay, that hand swatch was so deceiving. It's looking like it's matching me. It kind of just completely blended into the skin. I would say I still see a little bit of redness here on these larger breakouts that I have going on, but my acne scarring has been covered up pretty well. I'm gonna put a little bit of 280 under my eyes also, just right there. And then I'm gonna blend it in here. Okay, so as you guys can see, I do have the foundation and concealer right here on the right side of my face. And then the left side of my face is just the foundation. You can definitely see my acne scarring coming through. It's not as intense as without the foundation, you know. I think this side looks a little bit more perfected. I will say I don't see like a ginormous difference, if I'm being honest. So now I'm going to use the shade 320 and then 280 to lighten. I had it backwards on this side, as you guys saw. Even though I have a lot of areas with concealer, I am trying to be mindful about keeping it very thin. I'm not going in with globs of concealer, but I kind of feel like 320 is almost a little bit too light peach for my skin tone. This side I think is looking a little bit too light peach, almost like a little bit grayish, while this side has both of the concealer shades on it. So now just to balance it out, I am going to add a little bit of 280 all over those areas that I have the concealer, just to get rid of that discoloration that I think is happening. All right, and here is what the face is looking like with the concealer on both sides. As you can see, I look super, super dewy. I always set it down with powder whenever I wear this foundation. So because this concealer seems to have about the same type of finish, it kind of just like blended right in. My under eyes definitely are creasing a little bit with the concealer before I set with any powder, and that's pretty typical. I always set my under eyes with powder because if not, I do crease because I do have one pretty significant fine line under either of my eyes. So that was to be expected, but I just wanted you guys to see. I would advise if you have anything other than really dry skin to set this one down. Now, before I share all of my final thoughts on the concealer, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face and then we'll be back to talk about my first impressions. Alright guys, I'm back with my full face of makeup. Again, my eye is looking so intense right now because my lashes are like out of the way and everything. I apologize, but I have a lot of thoughts about this concealer, so let's get into it. I use the Fenty Invisimatte to set down the areas, and then I use Huda Beauty to bake. So as you can probably see from the footage, like the close-ups, the areas where I have those active breakouts where it's a little bit more red, a little bit more prominent, they did end up starting to show through. After I did my cream bronzer and my cream blush, I did kind of notice that the concealer kind of moved around a bit in those areas, and then I really noticed it whenever I set my face down with powder. I baked a little bit under my eyes and I brought it down a little bit down my cheeks, and then for the rest of the face I did just do a light dusting of that Huda Beauty powder, and unfortunately I feel like those acne spots did definitely kind of lose that concealer. I don't think anywhere that isn't raised lost any pigmentation. It really is just like my active breakouts here on my cheeks on the right side and on the left side. And I have used these other products with other concealers and I haven't had that same effect. So I don't want to say that it's the cream products or the powder or anything. It could be. They could just be reacting differently with this concealer. Now it could definitely be the mixture of the powder with it, but I feel like I started to see my active breakouts coming through whenever I did use that cream bronzer and a cream blush from Makeup by Mario. So that's kind of odd to me, but I did take a couple of photos just now, flash photos, as well as photos directly in front of my window so I could see what everything is looking like. I don't know, you guys can see for yourself what I mean. You can definitely see like there can be more coverage on my pimples and stuff, but it doesn't look bad. Like it doesn't look like anything completely rubbed off on there, you know? If anything, I feel like the concealer kind of slipped a little or slid a little out of place, and maybe that's what happened whenever I was blending in the rest of my complexion products. I wonder if I went in and I blended out the concealer and I waited for everything to dry down a little longer, and then I went in with the rest of my complexion products, if it would have stayed put a little better. Alternatively, I could powder the face down after the foundation and concealer and then used my cream bronzer and blush, because I know for a fact that both of those products work really well on top of powder as well as underneath powder. As far as the texture of these concealers, I would say they are extremely thin, very easy to blend into the skin because, like I mentioned, the consistency is super similar to the foundation. Now, that begs the question, is this any different from the foundation? You know what I mean? I think that these are a little bit more thin, whereas the foundation does have a little bit of a creamy consistency to it. So this has a little bit more of a serum-y consistency to it for sure. My husband and I are gonna go out on a dinner date, and then we will be back home, and I'll do a check-in just to let you guys see how everything is sitting, how everything is wearing. I did set everything down with the setting spray. I did my usual routine. So we will see how this ends up looking at the end of the night. So it's been about 6 hours since I've put this face of makeup on, so I want to talk a little bit about the concealers as well as how I thought it lasted throughout the day. Overall, the face looks really nice. I don't think that I've produced an excessive amount of oil. Definitely look more oily, a little bit more shiny. That is perfectly normal with my oily combo skin type. Looking at specifically where the concealer is, I'm noticing a lot of creasing under my nose right here where I place the concealer, where I do tend to get more red under the nose. And I also do have a good amount of creasing under my eyes. Now, if you want to count it on my eyelids, I do have creasing there. I did kind of just run my concealer brush on top of there, and I also ran my powder on there as well. That's not really out of the ordinary for the tops of my eyelids to crease, because typically if I do go over with concealer and a powder, they just tend to crease because my eyelids just tend to be oily for the most part. The concealer situation on the cheeks, nothing really has changed in that area. We do have the benefit of having bronzing powder on top to set it, as well as like face powder setting it. So you do kind of have that sandwich of powders on the cheeks. It doesn't seem to have separated from the foundation or anything else otherwise. The most concerning area really is just under the nose. That's where it's looking the most textured. Now, I am saying this to note because in the description of this concealer, it does say that it is crease proof, long lasting, and transfer proof as well. For me, I do think that it ended up creasing. Also says that it's self-setting, but unfortunately for me, as someone that does have that combination normal to oily skin type, I don't really think that it ever really set down. Now, if you have very dry skin or just dry skin, this may set down really nicely for you. I do think that the foundation looks beautiful. Its claim about looking like skin and having a skin finish, I do really agree with that, and I always agreed with that when it came to the foundation. I always felt like the foundation just looked like really healthy, dewy skin. Now, if you don't like that dewy look, obviously this is not going to be the type of finish that would suit you. I have worn this foundation for long periods of time. I'm pretty sure I've worn it for over like 10-12 hours before, and I feel like the concealer is really similar to the foundation. I definitely think that this concealer requires some extra care and attention. If you do have more oily skin, you're definitely gonna have to set it down. And I kind of wish that I got a little bit more coverage out of it, to be honest. I was hoping that it would be at least a medium to full coverage. Now, it does claim that it's only a medium coverage, so I wasn't expecting it to exceed that, but you know, it would have been nice to be like on the more full coverage side of medium coverage. Now, do I recommend this concealer? To be honest, I don't know if it would suit everybody. Like I said, if you're not a fan of a dewy finish, if you find that your oils just can't handle something that's more serum-y like this, or something that is more hydrating like this, then I wouldn't really suggest this for you. But if you want something that's within the same family of the finish of the foundation, if you want something that's going to seamlessly blend in with the foundation, And maybe you don't have any crazy active breakouts that need any covering up, and you're kind of just looking for minor coverage, like under eye dark circles. I think it would be really good for, like darker pigmentation on the skin. I feel like it would be good for, you know. And also, if you have more dry skin, I think that this would be a really good option for you because it would add a lot of really beneficial hydration to the skin. I'm going to continue on playing with it. Like I said, I'm going to try to powder it down before going in with any of my blushes and bronzers and stuff. Who knows, maybe this will become like an absolute favorite holy grail product. That does tend to happen sometimes after review videos, like first impression videos. Sometimes the first impression, it takes a little bit of playing around before I fully get to decide what my thoughts are on a product. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful and it's been helpful for your buying decisions. If you did find it helpful and enjoyable, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!